Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! West Ham are massive, everywhere we go! Everywhere we go!
Welcome again to the West Ham Massive, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to need your comments in the section below. Get stuck into it. To what the points I'm going to bring up today are. Also, please don't forget to drop a like on this stream and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts and new content, and maybe even consider giving this a share to your social media platforms to help grow the channel. Appreciate it. So, one of the protracted stories that have gone on this week, obviously we're in an international break and Premier League a little bit of a lull, so stories are a little bit thin on the ground, but if you go looking you can find a few. So this one, beginning of the week, we had 3 candidates that by all accounts we was looking at to fill a vacancy in the centre-back department. Obviously we've done a lot of good business in the transfer window. 8 signings, 9 signings? 9 signings, I believe, from memory. I think the 9th one was Carlos Soler. I'll talk about him in a minute, so stay tuned. But obviously their transfer window slammed shut 11 o'clock the other Friday, and a lot of people looked at the composition of the squad and worked out very quickly that the preference of the head coach, Julien Lopetegui, to have 2 players per position was probably not something we actually had so much at centre-back. We obviously lost Kurt Zouma, went off to the Saudi Pro League. Al Ubaid, if I remember correctly, was the team that he's gone to. Naif Aguer's gone to Real Sociedad. Angelo Ogbonna, obviously the end of his deal. He parted ways with the club and then later signed a deal with Watford in the Championship. We obviously brought in 2 centre-backs, Max Kilman and Jean-Claire Todibo, but of course you can work it out, 3 out, 2 in. Means that we were probably short of 1 centre-back. So then we start looking into the free market, because obviously despite the fact that the transfer window is closed, we can still get a free transfer in up to including the 14th, of September. So the 3 names that were linked were Mats Hummels, the German international World Cup winner in actual fact, Joel Matip, Liverpool stalwart for a good number of seasons, won the Premier League, won the Champions League with them. I think he won a League Cup and an FA Cup in there as well, so he got a glittering array of accomplishments in Merseyside. And then the 3rd member that was being looked at was John Egan. Now, probably a lot of people look at John Egan compared to the other two and say, well, there's levels, Rob. I'm not quite sure if that's a signing we should make, but then I could counter that with, well, remember Craig Dawson when he first walked in. So similar sort of thing. You never know, although it's a different time and place. So anyway, Mats Hummels has dropped out of the race. He's obviously gone to Roma, from what I understand. Leaving free becomes 2, Joel Matip and John Egan. So it would appear that we seemed to, at the beginning of the week, once Hummels was out of the equation, the initial word coming out of the club was that it was going to be Joel Matip that was the favoured candidate. However, there was a game that was played in midweek behind closed doors at Rush Green, 30 minutes per half. West Ham played Dagenham and Redbridge and won by a scoreline of 5-0. Hat-trick from Danny Ings, 2 goals from Andy Irving. But playing in 30 minutes of that particular encounter was John Egan. Joel Matip nowhere to be seen. So you start to think, actually, rightly or wrongly, the club are probably favouring John Egan for that fact. Because if you're going to give him a trial game and not the other guy, that would probably in and of itself say that you're leaning in that direction of travel. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Listen, you can decide. There's a comment section below. Get stuck into that. But there's now a report coming out, lo and behold, that it might not be that we're actually going to favour one over the other potentially. There's actually a story that I've seen out online, and I will pop it up on the screen so you can go and have a look at this particular article and check it out for yourself and make sure my interpretation is correct. But it would appear that it's not beyond the realms of possibility we might sign them both. We might get in Joel Matip and John Egan together, as opposed to it just being one or the other. Don't know. I mean, I think Joel Matip, in terms of his accomplishments in the game, you'd obviously say that he's got a better CV. But as I say, I do use the example of Craig Dawson coming in from Wolves. I think if I remember rightly, it was a loan to begin with, and then we bought him. And for the first couple of months, he didn't kick a ball. And everybody said he was at a certain level. He was below the level of the players that we should have been signing, this, that and the other. He got an opportunity from memory. I think it was away to Southampton. Didn't look back. And now is a figure that we have in a cult hero status. Got that goal away in Lyon in the Europa League quarter-final second leg. And is someone that a lot of people still look on with fondness. Now, John Egan, could he be similar in that regard? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's possible we might even sign them both. It's all got to hinge on finances, it always does. Both being free agents, they're probably going to command a fair chunk of change as far as their weekly salary goes. But what do you think? If you could get one over the other, which one would you prefer? Or would you even say that signing both of them would be a good bit of business on the part of the club? I guess it allows a little bit more flexibility in terms of if the manager wants to possibly even play 3 centre-backs in a match. Whether it's a short-term thing or longer term, I don't know. But let me know your thoughts, comment section below. And I mentioned earlier I was going to talk about Carlos Soler. So another little story that I saw just browsing the internet was, and again, this was a fairly protracted saga that went on for ages. Was it going to happen? Was it not going to happen? We had to make space in the squad, blah, blah, blah. On the last day, we shipped out 3 players on loan, Maxwell Cornet, Naya Faguer, and James Ward-Prowse, to Southampton, Real Sociedad and Nottingham Forest, respectively. That then allowed Carlos Soler, who was waiting in the wings, it would appear that the deal was pretty much signed, sealed and delivered. It was just a question of getting those spaces in the squad released, which happened on deadline day, and he came in just after that. Now, a little bit of a sort of different information that I'm getting. See, initially I heard it was just a straight loan for the rest of the season. When I looked on Transfer Market later, they had it down at that time, and I don't know if it's changed since, that it was a loan with an option to buy. So I'm not quite sure which of those two is correct. Is it a straight loan with no obligation or option, or is it a deal where we have the option to purchase at the conclusion of the loan deal? Don't know. That'll all take its course. But the interesting thing is, and this really did make me sort of go, wow, that could be problematic, was his wages at Paris Saint-Germain. I didn't realise, and I'd not seen anything until this story this morning, I didn't realise Carlos Soler is actually on, yep, absolutely, he's actually on, at PSG, £240,000 a week. Wowzers. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, apparently we're paying half of that during the course of this loan. So we're stumping up 120k a week by all accounts. Now, it then makes me sort of ask the question, well, just supposing we get to the end of the season, and whether there is an option and whether there isn't, let's just suppose West Ham want to buy, PSG want to sell, Carlos Soler wants to come to London Stadium. But if he's going to want 240k a week, he's going to have to produce something ridiculous between now and then for me to sort of go that that's money well spent. That is an awful lot of money. Just short of £750,000 a week. He will be on just short of £1 million a month. Bloody hell. You know, so you're talking about in a year, £12 million investment just in wages. He'll probably want all sorts of other things besides, but that is an awful lot of money. And even if you're getting him for nothing, which I don't believe we will, so we'll have to sort of like put up a transfer fee of some description if we go. That's a lot of money, guys. That is an awful lot of money. Be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, like I say, I think 120k is quite an awful lot for a guy that we're getting in that, quite frankly, was a bit part player at PSG. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. 200. If he's on 240k a week, I think he's going to have to lower his wage demands if he does want to come to West Ham once this loan deal is up. But let me know what you think. Comment section below. You got a few bits and pieces to get stuck into there. So, Joel Matip, John Egan. Would you take one or the other, or do you think both are likely options? And Carlos Soler, 240k a week at PSG. What do you think? You know, in terms of getting him through the door, if he's going to sort of what are you expecting from him on that sort of wages? I dare say you're probably expecting the second coming of Dimitri Payet or something, but I'm not too sure we're going to get that. But let me know what you think. Is that just the going rate for a sort of like a modern day footballer? That's an awful lot of money, guys, an awful lot of money. Let me know, comment section below. Always, don't forget to like, comment on, as I say, in the section below. Share these to your social media platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon for alerts of new content. And we'll see you next time. Come on, you Irons.
Irons supporting food banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham are massive.